Hi, I'm Tyson.
And I'm Mike. And we argue with dragons.
Welcome, listeners. This is Tyson coming at you.
And this is Mike.
We're here to argue with some dragons.
Hey, before we get into it, listen. Know what that is?
What's that?
That's my garlic bread, nice and crispy. Jealous?
I don't know about you listeners, but I can suddenly smell garlic bread coming through my microphone right now. What'd you have for dinner, Mike? Are you still eating dinner as we record?
I actually had a bowl of cereal, but I decided, hey, there's a box of garlic bread in the freezer, and I'm hungry still.
Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. He's eating for your listening pleasure.
I'm not going to do a mukbang, and I'm absolutely not going to fucking do any kind of this whispery little ASMR stuff that everybody loves so much.
Those videos, they bring in a lot of views, though.
I know they do, and it's weird.
It's a little strange, but, you know, don't yuck somebody else's yum, I guess.
Oh, no. I'm going to yuck it all I choose to, and I have every right to do that as an American citizen.
That's fair. I'm glad you're a citizen, Mike.
Anyway.
All right. So this is our second episode, as I said, and I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm having a lot of fun just chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting ready to hear from all three of our listeners out there.
Yeah. We might run into the possibility or even the danger of a fourth listener.
Oh, man. Don't get my hopes up.
Oh, I don't plan to.
Gets me so excited to think that 4 people might actually want to hear what we talk about.
Well, quit gooning and zip it up. Let's get to talking about Zelda.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic, Legend of Zelda. Now, I don't know if you knew this, Mike, but this is the month that the franchise turns 40.
I did know that.
I'm only 1 year older than Zelda, and that is disgusting to me.
Have you had your prostate exam yet?
Doctor told me at 45.
Oh.
So I've got a few more years of free and clear bunghole.
And although I have to have one.
I will say I've already had like 2 or 3 of them in my day. So, you know, for other unrelated issues.
Let's not get into your gross body.
Yeah, I don't ever want to think about that doctor's large fingers again.
I don't know if mine was even a doctor.
Oh boy, dear Penthouse Forum. All right. So a disclaimer, folks, before we get into this conversation, I love Legend of Zelda. The games are wonderful and magical to me, but I came into Zelda, I would say, not necessarily later in life, but I've had kind of more of a tepid exposure to it. But I love it. I love it so much that I have a Triforce tattooed on my arm. And what gets me and what I think I'm going to enjoy the most is trying to understand why I love it so much and why so many of you out there probably do too.
Yeah.
So Mike, tell me about your first Zelda game.
The very first Zelda game I ever played was Link's Awakening on the original Game Boy when I was about 6.
Oh, my first Game Boy game was Pokemon Blue.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I had Pokemon Blue on release, and I was 9-ish.
Oof. I was a little poor back then. I was a little late to the party with my Game Boy. It was lime green.
Mm-hmm. I had one of the gray brick ones.
So yeah. my first Zelda game was Link to the Past, Super NES.
Hey,
and I didn't even get to play it. I was just watching. And I tell you what, I was hooked. And some of the things I love the most, you know, Zelda rewards exploration. You know, it doesn't have to explain itself. It doesn't reward optimization like, you know, World of Warcraft and all these modern games do these days. Doesn't really reward reflexes either when the only thing you could do is move up, down, right, left in those classics. But
classics only, though, I might add.
It really feels like it rewarded curiosity over all other things, though. And it gave you a feeling that you were truly a hero. And to be honest, it kind of made me feel smart without telling me I was smart. You solve that puzzle, you hear that noise, and man, you're just like pumped, right?
Absolutely.
To me, though, that doesn't really forgive the franchise for a whole lot of things that I'm gonna get into. But tell me, Mike,
Go for it.
what was the first game that you loved, truly loved from the franchise?
Probably The Link's Awakening on the Game Boy when I played it as a little child all the way up until I was probably, oh, I don't know, 11. Played that game so much I had to clear multiple save files to start over again.
Oh, save files. Those were the days. So, explain to me like I'm 5.
Okay.
Are all these games in this franchise like sequels, prequels? Do they have anything in common at all?
In a way, they are. There is an official Zelda
Mm.
timeline. I don't have the whole thing memorized. However, I do have a little something that I didn't have when I was 10.
Pubic hair?
Yes, and Google.
Oh, yes, Google. What
I will pull it up and I will explain it to you. But I won't pull it up just yet. I'll explain what I know about it first
okay.
and foremost. Firstly, the first game canonically in the series is Skyward Sword, game on the Wii. Not sure if you've played it or not.
I have not.
Okay. It starts off in floating islands in the sky, where just about every intelligent being, every humanoid, so to say, uh, lived on these floating islands and got between them by riding on giant birds that look a lot like shoebill storks. And, well, Hyrule was below that, beneath a cloud bank that they could not get through. Then some shit happened, a hole opened up in the cloud bank, Link falls through a hole in the cloud bank and ends up in Hyrule, where, for some reason, evidence of people and other races existed down there already. So, even ancient stuff like well, there's an entire area of the game where you travel back and forth in time using little stones that do little time warps in small areas that you traverse and use to solve puzzles. There was that area was actually run by little robots, and who knows who created them. Then there's also Gorons, little mole people, all that. But anyway,
But wait a minute. When I played Ocarina of Time, it said that these 3 spirit ladies created the world.
yes, they did.
But you're telling me that
Anyway,
little robots were running around there at the same time? I'm confused.
yeah, it's a good deal confusing unless you have an encyclopedic knowledge or, in fact, Google. Anyway, um, Skyward Sword was just the first canonically in the series. There are a few others in the series leading up to Ocarina of Time as far as the timeline is concerned. Ocarina of Time is an important one because it's where the timeline splits into 3. Now I will bring up the wiki.
I think Ocarina of Time was like a cornerstone game. It was it was so well done, so masterfully done, and it truly defined what 3D could do for the adventure RPG genre. Like, everything you looked at before Ocarina of Time was 2D and or top down, and, there were it defined a genre, I think.
Absolutely.
It was just an amazing game.
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed. Alrighty, so from Skyward Sword, going down the timeline, you got the Minish Cap coming immediately next, which was a Game Boy Advance exclusive. Then you've got the Four Swords Adventures, and then Ocarina of Time.
I've played Four Swords Adventures. That game was fun.
Yes,
And
it was.
why that game was fun? Because it looked exactly like or exactly like Link to the Past. It was top down and it was so pretty because it was done on the Wii
Yes,
with the
indeed,
fancy
sir.
graphics.
Yes,
Now
indeed.
I know you got the wiki in front of you and you're real excited about it, but and any of our listeners can go out to the wiki and look up the timeline.
Sure they can.
So why don't you tell me this?
Okay.
Why doesn't Link talk?
It's a silent protagonist. It's It's actually in a lot of games.
Well, name 2 other games.
Okay, Gordon Freeman from Half-Life in Samus Aran.
Samus. Oh, I've never played.
Metroid.
I've never played Metroid. You're right.
Yeah. Steve
Hmm.
from Minecraft, bonus. The Doom
Steve
guy from Doom.
Minecraft. Oh, the Doom guy from Doom, I think he definitely talks.
No, he does not.
Well,
Not in any of the games.
the game was ancient, but okay,
Not even
okay.
in the newer games that were released within the past couple of years.
They weren't wildly popular if you noticed.
Yeah, they were.
Minecraft might be, but the newer Doom games really they faded real quick.
Well, I mean, they hit the zeitgeist for a while, but there's only so much you can do with first-person shooter.
That's fair. That's a
I'm
fair
gonna go
assessment.
ahead and tell that to the people who created Black Ops and need to fucking stop.
Oh no, the are you kidding me? Those games are cash cows. People
Yeah,
just
but
keep
then people are
swiping their
gonna
credit
start
cards
realizing that
for,
every game's the exact same every year, just with new guns.
well, gotta have that new gun so that 8-year-old won't snipe you.
I mean, they're still gonna, and they're gonna act like they're the best ever until they lose, and then they cry to mom and get the game banned.
So
This is the Pokemon card argument all over again.
that's fair. So Ocarina of Time
Sure.
had a direct sequel. Tell us about Majora's Mask.
Now, that's just one split in the timeline, actually. But Majora's Mask it used the same engine as Ocarina of Time. In that all the graphics were the same. It used a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for here? A lot of assets from Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was a huge amount darker, like way darker. Like comparing H.P. Lovecraft to Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, but don't you think they made a mistake with the whole timer in the game?
No, not at all. It adds a sense of urgency. Sure, it takes away from the exploration, but there are ways to mitigate it.
That exploration, though, up until that point, is what made Zelda special.
I kind of agree and I kind of don't. The exploration is important in that it brings you to extra heart containers, items you don't get from dungeons, etc., etc. But at the same time, the I would argue that the entire object of the game and what makes it truly, just truly special, as you put it, is that you become a hero. You step into the hero's mantle, uh, which that was done perfectly in the Wind Waker.
That's another one I have not played.
All right, just a brief rundown of what I'm talking about. Link is a young man who is taking part in a ritual where he wakes up on his, I think, 11th birthday, and he is given a green tunic and pointy hat because that's what the ancient hero wore. And when boys on this specific island in a giant ocean turn this age, they're given those clothes to wear for one day just to live the life of the hero for that one day. And either way, when he does this, his little sister gets kidnapped and taken away by, well, I won't spoil too much. But anyway, Link goes around to try to free his sister from the clutches of this evil entity. And he ends up finding the Triforce pieces because it was needed to open a doorway. And then the Triforce selects him and says, you know what? You're heroic enough. As opposed to Link being predestined as the hero. And
You know,
Majora's Mask does kind of the same thing, except it doesn't have any kind of heroics in it. Or, well, any kind of, oh, hey, look, you're a hero kind of thing. It's literally just Link looking for his friend and looking for a way out of an alien land, and he conquers evil despite this.
Right. The boy who doesn't talk somehow becomes a hero every single game. Don't you feel like the franchise is a little repetitive?
In that you rescue the princess and get away, then yes.
Yeah.
Well, not get away, but you rescue the princess and
Yeah. You
live
know,
happily ever after,
that's
yeah.
one thing I will give to Majora's Mask fully is that you didn't have to fight Ganon at the end.
Sources have a lot of different lore on Majora. One saying he was a dragon who was just the embodiment of pure evil that rivaled Ganon in his purest form. But then there's others that say that Majora's Mask was actually just crafted from some kind of wood by an ancient hexing or an ancient tribe to use in hexing rituals.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
But so one of the things I loved about Link to the Past,
Yep.
it had fairly rigid dungeons.
Uh-huh.
The puzzles were there was only really one way to solve them.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And that is something that, made you feel smart when you solve that puzzle. Now, modern Zelda, I feel like has started to favor more creative problem solving.
Sure.
Do you think that's maybe a sign of the times or
Eh, I don't know. I mean, I have heard a few different things about creativity, especially in video games. There is only a finite number of original ideas in the world, and most of them have been used, is one of those.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't really think there's anything original out there anymore, you know?
Uh-huh. Well, here's an original statement.
Ugh.
You've never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna edit it out too.
That's fine. Yeah, just edit that out completely and let
Mm.
people guess.
So, Breath of the Wild comes along.
Sure.
Now, we're not gonna talk about Twilight Princess because I feel like that was just another rehashing of the same kind of game as Ocarina of
Oh,
Time, only
dude.
with better
Oh, dude.
graphics.
No, not even. Not even. Twilight Princess is one of my personal favorites.
Alright, what makes it one of your personal favorites? Because it seems like everyone you play has been your personal favorite so far.
I have not said that. I just love them all. But anyway,
What
uh,
made Twilight Princess unique in the series then?
Twilight Princess was unique to me in the tone and how it delivers the story to you. For specific instance, have you played it at all?
I have not.
Okay, there is a little impish character named Midna in it. She hides in your shadow and allows you to transform to and from a wolf. You use wolf form to use the wolf senses, like a better sense of smell and that kind of thing, to track enemies or what have you, that kind of thing. It's just a very unique take on the series. I mean, sure, the element of rescue the princess is still there. It's there just about every game.
Rescue princess, solve puzzles, kill Ganon, end game.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty repeatable.
It's repetitive in that it is ever present, but each game has its own level of uniqueness to it.
So, let's move forward in time a little bit. Do you
Okay.
think Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom,
What about them?
I feel like if they weren't Zelda games, do you think they'd really be as popular as they are?
No, I do not. I
Really?
genuinely don't. And I'm going to go ahead and say I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, first of all. I haven't. I just have not purchased the game, have not played the game, etc. But I do have Breath of the Wild, and I'm not a huge fan.
Ooh,
I like
fighting
it for what
words.
it
For a
is.
lot of folks, fighting words right there.
Yes, I know, but each game, as I said, has its own uniqueness, has its own little thing that makes it itself. With Breath of the Wild, it takes that a few steps too far. It's too much of a break from the formula in that there aren't classic dungeons. There are 4 dungeons in it, yes, but they're basically mini dungeons. You go in, you solve a couple of puzzles, you fight a boss, you go out. Whereas in a traditional game, like basically from the very beginning all the way up until Breath of the Wild, you've got between 6 and 8 huge dungeons, each of which has a variety of puzzles, a variety of mini bosses and bosses and rooms that you can go in and out of. And some of them are very maze-like. Water Temple from Ocarina of Time, for instance, very
Ooh,
maze-like, but
everyone's favorite.
nowhere near as difficult as people make it out to be. It's really
No,
not.
no, it really wasn't as hard, but,
No, but
I've never
we were all 12.
Exactly, and I think that's part of the reason why those games presented such a challenge to us.
Because
It's
we were stupid,
we were 12.
AKA stupid.
So I have a special place in my heart with Breath of the Wild simply because it gives me a feeling. It gives me that feeling of freedom. But I'm kinda with you. I
That's the open world that you're feeling, and
I
a lot of
think
games have that.
I agree, and I think that it's a good game that could stand on its own if it didn't have Link and Zelda attached to it.
If it didn't have the Zelda skin, it could stand on its own, absolutely.
A lot of people say they miss the old dungeons, and I wonder if they really miss the dungeons or do they just miss being 12 and having unlimited time to solve them, you
No,
know?
it's the dungeons.
Oh, no, I miss kinda being 12 and not having to go to work.
I mean, I do miss that too, but that's a separate entity all its own, or a separate geist, if you will.
Well, to be honest, I think that's part of the problem with the Zelda franchise in general. I think they put out when they first released Zelda, they put out a kinda unique, interesting game, but it wasn't very different from a whole lot of Atari games out there, whole lot of Nintendo games. And then they released the second Zelda, which was mostly which was all side scroller, and that was not a unique game.
No,
That was a
there
that was a
were similar games at
terrible
the time,
that
and
was a
I will not
terrible
say it was
game.
terrible. I will not
I
say it was terrible. It was unique.
I will say it was terrible. It is I mean, it's just terrible. It was hard, it was probably far too hard for what it was, and especially for, the kids that they were probably going after. And I rank that sucker right up there with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's a bear
Oh,
of a
yeah,
game.
no, both of those games are very difficult.
But, then
They're no Dark Souls, but
they come out then eventually with Link to the Past and, they move into the modern generation with the colors and all that stuff, but they still use the same lazy methods through the whole game. I mean, Link is I know you're saying silent protagonist and all that stuff, but Link's kind of a shitty character when you break it down. He
I don't think so.
he doesn't have any personal character development whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, he
He doesn't
does.
have no, he really doesn't.
Yeah, he really does.
He's the same Link except for a different colored tunic, a new shield, and a better sword by the end of every game. And you can't tell me he's got personal development because he never talks. He has no dialogue
So
whatsoever.
you're saying you have to speak to be a good person?
I think the audience that's looking at a character can't see development unless they're let inside that character's thoughts at least a little bit.
Think about it this way. If talking is all that important, why is the franchise so popular?
Well, that's something I want to touch on too.
Then touch on it, because I would love to hear what you think about that.
I think the franchise is insulated by nostalgia.
No.
Yeah,
Like I
because
said,
if you released an open world game today that had a character that never spoke and he had to eat, he had to build things to survive, he could go underground, he could go up in the sky. Everybody would look at you and say, "Oh, you're just ripping off Minecraft." "Oh, well, yeah, probably, maybe." Or you put out a game that's Souls-like and gritty, you're just ripping off Dark Souls. Your character never talks, there's no real character development, and as a matter of fact, there's no narrative development at all other than you're being spoon-fed little bits of a story throughout where you have to piece together most of it.
now I might be in the minority here, but I really like that kind of storytelling. You have to find the story for yourself instead of having it given to you.
Well,
You learn organically as opposed to being told a story through exposition and plot points. So one thing about Zelda that I have not liked much is that the story is handed to you piece by piece. Whereas with Dark Souls, one thing I really like about it is that you find out bits of like, there could be lore about an ancient king that you find in a pair of trousers description. Like literally.
and those kind of games I think are a little unique in that faucet, but like
A
I'm trying
faucet.
facet. I don't know. I think Zelda gets a free pass on a lot of this because when people pick up a Zelda game, there's a lack of expectations there. because Zelda gets praised for doing these things and other titles get criticized for them. Zelda constantly reuses enemies,
So
and
it's all in the same land for the most part.
I get it, but there's such a lack of diversity between games. Like, if you were to put out if you let's go back to your Dark Souls, you love Dark Souls, but if you were to constantly put out the same 7 enemies through Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 instead of there being unique things, and then here Elden Ring drops out and everybody gets excited, and then they go to play it and it'd be the same enemies from 1, 2, and 3. Do you really think it would get a pass?
Well, no, for two reasons. One, the Dark Souls series, all three games in Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring, all take place in different areas, different worlds.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I think it's lazy.
I don't. I genuinely don't. Like, okay, for instance, name one decently common enemy in Ocarina of Time.
Oh, decently common enemy. How about the bats, the skull bats, the one-eyed
The
bats?
bubbles. That's what they're called, as bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah.
So you've got these
The ones that are surrounded by fire, you mean?
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, bubbles.
So you've got all these enemies, you got your pig face enemies that you see repeatedly through the series.
Those are
Um,
moblins.
yeah, moblins. There you go. See, we're hitting on your inner nerd here, aren't we?
It's not inner at all.
I
I
just feel
flaunt it.
like the franchise is less. I don't know. I feel sometimes that it's not as timeless as it is insulated by nostalgia.
All
I
right, from a
really do.
narrative standpoint, all these same enemies exist in the same world, just in different points in time. That's the entire point of the Zelda series, is it takes place across three separate timelines that I was starting to talk about.
No, I understand
Ocarina of
that.
Time's the great divider in that sense.
Yeah, and I understand that, but all 3 of the timelines look remarkably similar though, don't they?
No, not really.
Mhm.
Okay, looking at a graphic of the actual official timeline right here. There is actually a split right after Skyward Sword. The hero returns to his own time after defeating the Demon King Demise. Now, since you haven't really played that one, I'll just give a brief explanation. The big bad in that game is called Demise. He looks a lot like Ganon, but with long hair and a lot more buff. Just a big old bastard with long, fiery red hair. In one timeline, the Link kills Demise and returns to his own time period. In the other split, it's the past timeline. After he kills Demise, the Demon King never existed. He becomes the ancient hero, so Demise did not fully die, so to speak, and he resurrects as Ganon. That leads to Breath of the Wild. But in the timeline where he goes back to his own time, the Demon King Demise put a curse on him to always be reborn as the hero over centuries and millennia and what have you, and Zelda always to be reborn as an incarnation of the goddess Hylia. Yes, Skyward Sword introduced a fourth goddess, Hylia. But in that future timeline where he returned to his own time, that becomes the Minish Cap and the Four Swords leading into Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time has three splits. The Missing Hero timeline, which is where he defeats Ganon and then disappears, never reemerges. The Child Hero timeline is where he returns to his childhood after defeating Ganon and then goes off to rescue Navi, who flew away at the end of it, leading into Majora's Mask. And then the Fallen Hero is where he fails to beat Ganon. That leads directly into Link to the Past.
How does that lead to Link to the Past? Link wakes up in bed.
Different Link. Well into the future after Ocarina of Time.
But if he failed to kill Ganon, what happened to Ganon?
Ganon took over Hyrule and created the Dark World. He got a hold of the Triforce and created the Dark World. You remember the story there, don't
Oh,
you?
I do remember the story. I just played it recently.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. You ever get the feeling that Nintendo had absolutely no intention on interlocking all of these games, and they produced your timeline just as like a grasping for continuity in a bunch of games that they threw together that really didn't have a whole lot of continuity?
I do believe that, yes, and for one reason specifically. Miyamoto said himself that there was never a plan for an actual timeline like this. It all just fell into place.
I don't really think it fell into place. I think they pushed it into place like Lego blocks. And
Well,
they
it
all
makes
were
sense
different and a lot of
narratively.
them were all different colors. You can make anything make sense narratively.
Sure you
You just
can,
gotta
but,
add a few
this
little
works
words and
quite well.
that's I can agree with that, I guess.
I'm just saying, hey, Link, leaves after, Ocarina of Time to find Navi, falling into Majora's Mask. That is narratively explained at the beginning of Majora's Mask. He sets out in search of an old friend, and then Majora's Mask begins.
Oh, I get Majora's Mask was meant to be a sequel.
Yes,
It
it was.
truly
Yes, it
was.
was. But then there's the Fallen Hero timeline, feeding into Ganon being successful and taking over Hyrule, and thus creating the Dark World. There you go.
Yeah, but they made Link to the Past way before they ever did Ocarina of Time, obviously. They
Sure
didn't
they
know
did.
that's what they were
No, they
doing,
didn't. No,
and
they
when they
didn't.
did Ocarina of Time
However, you could make an argument that they read the lore in Link to the Past and said, "You know what? This next game should have a connection to that somehow."
I honestly do not believe that they had any inkling of wanting a connection to Link to the Past.
I'm not saying they did, I'm saying they might have.
The only thing that they made the connection with was that there was an ocarina in both of them.
Well, in Link to the Past, it was called a flute.
It was, but it was clearly an ocarina.
Yeah,
Clearly.
very true.
So let's talk about Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom a little bit more.
Okay.
Do you feel like Nintendo had an identity crisis there? Because I kind of feel like they took the classic Zelda and they freaked out a little bit and they said, we got to modernize, we got to do something. And when Tears of the Kingdom hit, I think they're trying to capitalize off Minecraft, to be honest.
Well, okay, I will agree with the Breath of the Wild argument there, that they saw what everybody else was doing is like, "You know what? We need to cash in on that shit." Like, they saw The Witcher 3 and they were like, "That game has made the most awards of any video game ever. Let's do that." Which was absolutely true up until a couple of years later when The Last of Us 2 took the title of the most awards won ever, quite unfairly, I might add. But I do not believe that Tears of the Kingdom took hints or copied Minecraft in any way, shape, or form because Minecraft had been out for probably a decade and a half.
Yes, but it was successful for a decade and a half. I feel like they've really tried to capitalize on that group of kids who like to build unique contraptions and do goofy shit in a game, because that's what I see quite a bit in that game. I don't know how many people you really think finished the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild and they thought, hey, that was amazing. Or did they just say, it was okay?
I would venture to guess that the majority of them say that was okay. The amount of people that say, "Oh, that was amazing," are probably going to be the huge minority.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, doing just a touch of research right now. Minecraft was released in 2009. Put that in the back of your head here.
Oh, I know when Minecraft was released. I remember our good friend Travis talking our ears off about it when he first played it in like version 1.2 or something like that.
Never played it myself.
My kids, oof, they love it. It's been their favorite game, I think, since oh man,
You.
they were young. 6 years old, 5 years old. My eldest, she's 20 years old today, and she still plays Minecraft.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, there were 13 different Zelda releases, including remakes, between the release of Minecraft and the release of Tears of the Kingdom. You cannot tell me that Tears of the Kingdom was made to capitalize on the popularity of Minecraft.
Oh, I sure
Not at
can.
all.
I absolutely can because Nintendo doesn't do anything fast. Because if they did do stuff fast, they'd have had a high definition system much faster than they did.
Well,
It
that
took them
doesn't honestly matter in my opinion for the
it took
simple
them
fact that,
to
I mean, the Zelda crafting system in, Tears of the Kingdom is nothing like Minecraft, first of all.
it has lots of strange similarities.
Similarities,
The
sure,
power
but outright
cores,
copies? No.
redstone. No, I
Power cores and redstone,
I
that's a
definitely
basis.
I definitely don't believe that they were attempting to copy the other game. I think they were trying to capitalize on a formula.
I don't know about that. I mean, any machinery is going to need a power source.
Hmm.
That's true for any universe,
Defend, defend, defend all you
and
want.
I'm going to. Like I said, it all lines
Okay,
up. The
well,
writing's on
okay.
the wall here.
So tell me then, Michael,
Okay.
you have defended every single argument I've had for why Zelda deserves to be beaten with a stick. So you tell me,
A
what
DQ
flaws
stick.
DQ. What flaws does the Zelda franchise have?
Well, it is as we discussed. I will concede that Nintendo made a decently big step backwards when they made Breath of the Wild. Uh, the formula of going through dungeons, solving puzzles, and saving the princess is tried and true. They took out the dungeons and puzzles portion of it for a large portion with Breath of the Wild. However, I do admit some of the puzzles they have in Breath of the Wild, like in those little mini shrines and such, they're challenging enough to be interesting, and they're unique enough to be cool. But it ain't the same.
So what's wrong with the old games? There's got to be something.
The repetition is clear, absolutely, in that the formula wake up, find sword, solve puzzles, beat dungeons, save princess, done. I mean, that's every game, basically, a few notable exceptions.
So no uniqueness.
The uniqueness is in the details that are to each game.
Hmm.
Each game has its own charm, except for Spirit Tracks and the Phantom Hourglass. Those games can suck that one.
What about those games is so bad?
Well, for one,
I'm sure there's a listener out there right now thinking, "The Phantom Hourglass is my favorite one. How dare he?" I wanna
uh,
hear, what are you telling that fan?
literally no one in the world's thinking that, Tyson.
There's somebody out there.
There is, if
What do you
any
tell that
game
fan?
is flawed, if any game in the entire franchise is flawed, it's the Phantom Hourglass. For one very specific reason, that was a massive, massive mistake on Nintendo's part. There is a main dungeon in the game called the Temple of the Ocean King. You go through this temple no less than 6 times, going a little further each time you go through. It's repetition at its absolute worst. You go in, first of all, to find an item. You find this item, you can go to a new place on the map, which, admittedly, the way you chart a course on the ocean in the game with the stylus on the DS, and your boat sails that course, it's interesting. It's unique, and
For
I will admit, kind of fun. Only kinda, and it loses its charm very quickly. But once you go out on the ocean, you discover a new area with a new dungeon, a new boss, etc. You find a new item, you beat the boss, you go back to the Temple of the Ocean King, progress just a teeny bit further in it this time to find another item, and then leave again.
yeah.
Plus, the instrument in the game. Every game has some kind of music in it, but the instrument in this game is a pan flute, a panpipes. You know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, a bunch of pipes of varying lengths that you blow over the top of to make music. Yeah.
Mhm.
The panpipes are in that game, and the way it works is you blow into the microphone on the DS and move the panpipes on the game using a finger or the stylus to choose which one you blow into.
Mm.
So it is horribly clunky.
Now that's the kind of Nintendo ingenuity I was looking for.
extreme
They are
clunk and very little
always
refine.
Nintendo is always trying to push the envelope on how you engage their games, how you interact with their games. Whether it works or not, they're like, "Nah, we'll fix it on the next system."
Exactly. And
But
then they
they
do
always
something
try.
completely different. They find
So,
a new way to innovate.
this has been a really hard episode, listeners, for me to do because I truly love the Legend of Zelda franchise, and I wanted to come into this episode here and just beat it with a stick. And it was really difficult, but kinda eye-opening, I think, to look at some of these reasons why it maybe needs to be questioned. But here's the thing, listeners. I think, if I'm being honest, Zelda earns most of its free passes. I think a lot of studios out there assume their players have really short attention spans nowadays, and their games always go to great lengths to tell you the plot, and they always repeat it, and they try to push a good example of that would probably be the Final Fantasy VII Remake. That game just takes the plot of their retold story and beats you over the head with it over and over and over again, trying to make sure you're paying attention. And a lot of games do that. By the way, Final Fantasy VII, probably my favorite game of all time. So
Fun fact for you.
I say that with the utmost love. Fun fact?
Yes,
What's that fun fact?
the voice of Vincent Valentine, our dearly beloved Matthew Mercer, was also the voice of Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, tie-ins, baby.
Hell yeah.
Here's the thing though. Zelda doesn't do that. None of the games do that because they know that you're paying attention. The game treats you like an adult that can sit in silence, and that is very rare with games these days. That silent protagonist that Link is, that's a blank slate. That's you. That gives you that mirror into him so that you can be the hero without all the noise. I love that. You know, it's something about finding that first quarter heart piece, crawling through that tunnel to get your first sword, using the hook shot for the first time when you see that bridge that you can never get across because it's broken. I mean, hang gliding from a canyon to another canyon. I know you may not like Breath of the Wild, but I truly feel that game was a perfect fit for Zelda.
I
And
will
it
say this.
absolutely has its drawbacks. The durability system is so fucking annoying that it makes me want to throw a controller at a TV.
Absolutely. And with the Joy-Cons, it was just so easy to do that. But yeah, I will say this. I like Breath of the Wild for what it was, not for what it represents.
That's fair. I think they definitely tried to push the envelope on what somebody expected from a Zelda game. And the world of Hyrule was definitely meant to be explored that way.
Absolutely.
And that's truly one thing I love about it.
One
Zelda earns
thing I
what's
was going to
that?
say one thing about Breath of the Wild specifically. When I was playing it, when it was still brand new, I got it on pre-order and everything. One thing I did when I wasn't playing it was reading fan theories, little unsolved mysteries and such, little segments on YouTube from a couple of creators who discovered this and that's about Hyrule. Just little spots in the terrain or in the decorations and stuff that just didn't make a ton of sense or look like they have a deeper story to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of it was pretty cool.
I like the fact that you can see the ruins in the game and use your imagination. "Oh, I remember that building from this game."
Yep,
And
yep,
whether it was intentional or whether that's just pareidolia talking, I don't know, but I am here for it either way.
yep. I will agree with that 100%. That is a very, very cool. Like that big long bridge in Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is a direct nod to Twilight Princess.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So, what I'm getting at, listeners, is Zelda earns your attention. It it earns every fault it has. Most games are playable stories. And say what you want about that confusing timeline, but Zelda is more like playable folklore. And ladies and gentlemen, is why I love that franchise.
And I very strongly recommend you try more games.
Maybe I will,
You have a Switch, don't you?
I do not. It
You
is on my
should.
list to get a hold of a Switch 2 because I refuse to buy the Switch 1 if I can get a Switch 2 for just a little bit more. But
That
I just
makes
can't bring
complete
myself to
sense.
spend $499 on one.
I don't disagree with you on that. System and game prices are getting stupid.
And listeners, that's where you come into this. Wherever you're listening to our podcast, I hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, tell your friends about us, spread the word. We get enough listeners, maybe Tyson can get a Nintendo Switch, but or we
Perhaps.
could at least break even on our podcasting costs,
Yeah.
whatever. Either way, spread the word. Send us an email even, arguingwithdragons@gmail.com. Tell us about your favorite Zelda game. Tell us which one was your first. Tell us which one you absolutely hated, and let's hear your best hot take. I'd love to start an argument on Reddit with something a listener wrote in about. That'd just be a freaking blessing right there. We got episode 2.
Do we?
We do.
Okay. So
What
what's
are we
3 gonna
thinking?
be about?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should venture to that little world called Azeroth.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You
What do
mean
you
that
might
one word in that magic spell that Raven from the Teen Titans says?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't gather that, we're gonna be talking about World of Warcraft next
Ooh.
episode. What do you, Mike? Are you Horde or Alliance?
A little both.
I'd say the same for me. I have never figured out exactly why people are one or the other because it's so much fun to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Don't take that the wrong way, Mike.
I didn't, but now you put that in my head.
We're going to be talking about how WoW has changed the landscape of the world that we live in today. A game that's 20 plus years old, still has millions of subscribers that are willing to pay Blizzard $14 a month just to enjoy their game, and a whole swath of private servers out there trying to capitalize on Blizzard's shortcomings
Until they get shut down.
until they do or don't get shut down.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they relocate to non-extraditable countries. Either
We
way,
could talk about that a little.
we sure can. I will have to hire a lawyer possibly, but
I don't know about that. Just talking about it
I
isn't going to
guess
hurt anything.
listeners tell me, is talking about a crime as bad as doing the crime?
I mean, if you're planning to do a crime, you are in fact talking about the crime,
Well, I'm not
and that
planning to
bumps
do
up the
anything.
charges from murder 1 to murder 2.
Well, it's a good thing we're not committing any crimes, ladies and gentlemen.
Agreed.
So we'll close out on a question, Mike.
Sure.
Where is your favorite place to go argue online?
Argue?
Yeah,
Probably threads.
threads. It's
Threads.
like Instagram threads, Facebook
Yes.
threads.
Yes.
Oh,
Because people air all their dirty laundry on there with absolutely no worries about the consequences and not a care in the world whether or not what they're saying has any merit of intelligence.
that could be a whole nother episode. We should talk about social media sometime.
No, we shouldn't,
Why not?
because we're talking about nerd shit that everybody loves.
Does everybody not love social media?
That's love-hate.
It is kind of love hate. I think we're more addicted than we are in love with it, right? That sweet dopamine hit, every
Yeah.
scroll. Oof.
You see that like button pop up. Ooh. It's
Listeners,
akin to an orgasm.
that leads me to say this. We will soon have our own Facebook, our own TikTok, our own threads, maybe our own Instagram. Who knows? I don't really know what I'd post there.
I would say let's not do threads.
I don't have threads. I don't have Instagram.
Consider yourself lucky on both.
I don't even have a TikTok. Now, Michael has a TikTok, though. Mike, do you want to share with your listeners your TikTok handle?
Nope.
You had quite the following on there, though, didn't you?
2,000 maybe.
Oh, see, that's way more
That's
listeners that are
not
listening to our
much.
podcast right now.
Yeah, I know. We got 3 listeners.
All 3 of you. Hi, Mom. Just Just saying hi. Your
Yeah,
son's still alive. All right, Mike. I think that's going to round out our episode. What do
I
you
think
think?
so too. Yeah.
All right. Listeners, it's been a pleasure. We hope to hear from you. Remember, arguingwithdragons@gmail.com. Send us a critique. Let us know what you think. My name's Tyson.
My name's Mike.
We're signing off. Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.